The given name David may refer to club career. Early career. Goodwillie was playing as a youth for Carse Thistle in his native Stirling before joining Dundee United as a 14-year-old in 2003, being spotted playing in a Scottish youth FA trial in Dundee. In signing from Carse Thistle, Goodwillie followed in the footsteps of Duncan Ferguson, who also played for the Stirling-based boys club. In July 2005, Goodwillie played for the first team in the pre-season City of Discovery Cup, appearing as a 77th-minute substitute in the tournament win. Dundee United. He signed professional forms with United in March 2005. On December 31, 2005, Goodwillie made his competitive debut for United, appearing as a late substitute in the defeat to Rangers at Ibrox. On March 4, 2006, in his fifth appearance for United, Goodwillie came off the bench to score a late goal for United against Hibernian at Easter Road. Goodwillie made 10 substitute appearances for the United first team during the 2005-06 season, with the majority coming in the final few minutes of each match. In October 2006, Goodwillie signed a new contract until May 2010 and started his first match for the club, against Falkirk. Goodwillie started twice more under new manager Craig Levin in the following 2 months, due to the injuries of other strikers. Following signings made in the January transfer window, he found himself largely an unused substitute for the remainder of the 2006-07 season, featuring just 6 times after New Year. Goodwillie made 2 substitute appearances at the start of 2007-08 season, then joined Scottish Second Division side Raith Rovers on a 2-month loan in November 2007, which was subsequently extended until the end of the season. Goodwillie scored 9 goals in 21 league appearances for the Kirkcaldy side. He featured for Dundee United in the early rounds of the 2008-09 League Cup, scoring 3 times against lower league sides. He added to his solitary SPL goal in the latter stages of the 2008-09 season, scoring a last-minute equaliser against Hibernian at Tannadice, then netting again against Hibernian later that season and also against Aberdeen. In September 2009, Goodwillie was arrested after a nightclub doorman was knocked unconscious. 2 months later, Goodwillie received a £200 fine for his part in the incident. Dundee United manager Peter Houston placed Goodwillie under a house arrest scheme to avoid further trouble. In the 2009-10 season, Goodwillie began as a regular starter for United, scoring 3 goals in the first 5 matches of the season. Notching 12 goals by mid-April, Goodwillie's performances were recognised with the Scottish Premier League Young Player of the Year award. In May 2010, Goodwillie scored the opening goal as United won the 2010 Scottish Cup final by 3-0 against Ross County. Goodwillie scored in 6 consecutive league games early in the 2010-11 season, prompting United chairman Stephen Thompson to say any other club would have to pay £3 million to sign him. Goodwillie signed a 1-year extension to his contract with United in March 2011. 2 days after signing an extension to his contract, Goodwillie scored the winning goal for United against Rangers at Ibrox. His performances were rewarded with the SPFA Young Player of the Year award for 2010-11. Championship side Cardiff City opened talks with Dundee United about transferring Goodwillie on June 23, 2011. The following day, United received bids from Rangers and Blackburn Rovers, both of which were rejected. On July 31, 2011, Blackburn Rovers and Dundee United agreed a fee for Goodwillie with an upfront fee of £2 million plus £800,000 in clauses, giving the striker permission to discuss terms with the Lancashire club. Blackburn Rovers. Goodwillie signed for Blackburn Rovers on a 4-year contract on August 3, 2011. On his arrival at the club, manager Steve Keane likened the striker to a young Wayne Rooney. 6 months after Goodwillie had moved to Blackburn, Dundee United received the payment for the player. Dundee United contacted the Scottish Premier League for assistance after Blackburn missed the deadline for the payment. The money, due for February 13, did not appear until 11 days after the scheduled date, with a later payment of £250,000 rescheduled for 1 March. On August 6, 2011, Goodwillie scored a debut goal on a 76th minute for Rovers in a friendly against Kilmarnock which Blackburn won 4-1. He made his competitive debut for the club on August 13, on the opening day of the 2011-12 season, against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Ewood Park, replacing Morten Gamst Petersen in the 72nd minute in a 2-1 defeat, and scored his first competitive goal in the 3-1 win over Sheffield Wednesday in the second round of the League Cup. In January 2012, Goodwillie scored his first Premier League goal at home to Stoke City. This was followed up 5 days later with his first FA Cup goal away to Newcastle United. Again in January, Goodwillie scored his second goal in the Premier League at away to Everton in a 1-1 draw. On August 31, 2012, Goodwillie signed on loan at Championship side Crystal Palace until January 2013. However, he cut his loan spell short in mid-October after featuring in very few games, with the Eagles' assistant manager Lenny Lawrence stating that Goodwillie had struggled to settle in London. Dundee United, Blackpool, Aberdeen. Goodwillie signed a 1-year contract with Aberdeen in July 2014. On July 17, he made his debut, coming on as a substitute against FC Groningen in the Europa League second qualifying round first leg. On September 13, he scored his first goal for the Dons in a 2-1 defeat away to Celtic in the Scottish Premiership. On January 21, 2015, having scored 5 goals and established himself in the first team, Goodwillie signed another 1-year contract keeping him at Pittodrie until the summer of 2016. On February 1, 2016, Goodwillie moved to fellow Scottish Premiership club Ross County on loan until the end of the 2015-16 season. He made 9 appearances as the Highland club came 6th, scoring a late equaliser in a 1-1 draw at Heart of Midlothian on May 7. Plymouth Argyle. On June 29, 2016, Goodwillie signed for EFL League Two club Plymouth Argyle. Affectionately known by the Argyle supporters as Rupert Badcock, Goodwillie left Plymouth by mutual consent in January 2017, after a civil case concluded that he had raped a woman. A club statement said that Goodwillie had requested to leave as he was considering an appeal. Goodwillie scored 1 goal in 22 appearances for Plymouth. His 1 goal was on his final appearance, concluding a 4-2 home win over Stevenage on January 17. Clyde. Returning to Scotland, Goodwillie briefly played for Caledonian Amateur League team Doon Castle. In March 2017, he joined Scottish League Two side Clyde on a short-term contract until the end of the 2016-17 season. Clyde's decision to sign Goodwillie attracted criticism, as politician John Mason said he would no longer attend their games for the rest of the season. Goodwillie made his debut for Clyde against Cowdenbeath on April 1, coming on as a 66th-minute substitute for Peter MacDonald. On April 15, Goodwillie scored a hat-trick for Clyde in a 3-2 win against Elgin City. He received a hat-trick of personal accolades at the club's Player of the Year awards for 2017-18, winning another award the season after. The team then won promotion to League One in 2018-19. At the PFA Scotland Awards, he was shortlisted for Player of the Year and named in the Team of the Year for League Two for 2018-19. Named club captain ahead of season 2019-20, Goodwillie became the first Clyde player to score 5 goals in a single match in 68 years and the first to score a hat-trick of penalties in one match. Both feats came in a 6-1 win over Stranraer. In April 2020, Goodwillie moved into the top 10 of the club's all-time leading goal scorers. With 2 goals in a 3-2 loss at Pete Riyad on September 11, 2021, Goodwillie achieved 100 goals for Clyde. Raith Rovers. Goodwillie rejoined Scottish Championship club Raith Rovers in January 2022. The move caused controversy due to Goodwillie's civil responsibility for rape, though he was never convicted in a court of law of any criminal offence for this. 2 club directors, several staff members, the women's team captain and most club volunteers resigned, and shirt sponsor Val McDermott withdrew her support of the club due to the signing, which was also criticised by First Minister Nicola Sturgeon and former Prime Minister Gordon Brown. The women's team cut ties with Raith Rovers. A few days after signing Goodwillie, Raith Rovers said he would not be selected to play for the club and that discussions would be held over his contract. On March 1, 2022, Goodwillie was loaned back to former club Clyde for the remainder of the 2021-22 season. After the club's women's team resigned and Massey and North Lanarkshire Council announced that their lease on Broadwood Stadium would be terminated early if Goodwillie was allowed entry, Clyde cancelled the loan deal and returned him to Raith. Goodwillie was released from his Raith Rovers contract on September 30, 2022. Livingston United. He played 1 game for Livingston United as a trialist, scoring twice in a 3-1 victory over Fauldhouse United. Following media and public disapproval, Livingston United announced that Goodwillie would not train or play with the club again. International career. Goodwillie made his debut for the Scotland national under-21 football team in November 2008. He received his first call-up for the senior side in November 2010 for a friendly against the Faroe Islands. He made his debut in that match, coming on as a 76th-minute substitute for Chris Commons. His international career stalled after that, however, because the SFA were reluctant to select Goodwillie while he underwent a legal process. Goodwillie was charged with sexual assault, but the case did not proceed to trial due to there being insufficient evidence to prove the allegation. After it was announced that Goodwillie would not be prosecuted, Scotland manager Craig Levin recalled Goodwillie to the national squad. He scored his first goal for Scotland on October 11, 2011, from a penalty kick in a 3-1 defeat against World Cup holders Spain. Goodwillie scored with his first touch of the ball after coming on as a substitute. Later in the same game, Goodwillie missed a glaring opportunity, as he shot wide of the goal instead of setting up the unmarked Craig McHale-Smith. Criminal convictions and rape judgment. In June 2008, Goodwillie was convicted of assaulting a man in a Stirling nightclub, and was fined £250. In September 2009, Goodwillie was arrested after a nightclub doorman was knocked unconscious. 2 months later, Goodwillie was convicted of assault and received a £200 fine. In 2012, Goodwillie was convicted of assault for repeatedly punching and kicking John Friel after Friel attacked Goodwillie's teammate Danny Swanson from behind at a takeaway in Glasgow in 2010. He was sentenced to a 12-month probation order and to carry out 80 hours of unpaid work. Friel was ordered to carry out 240 hours of unpaid work for his part in the incident. Rape. Goodwillie and his teammate David Robertson were accused of raping a woman in January 2011. Goodwillie was charged with rape, but the Crown Office did not pursue a criminal prosecution due to insufficient evidence in law. The Criminal Injuries Compensation Authority determined that the woman had been raped and awarded her £11,000. The woman took civil action in 2016 against Goodwillie and Robertson, in the first case of its kind in Scotland. The judge ruled that they had each raped her, and ordered them to pay £100,000 in compensation. The civil case was judged on the balance of probabilities and did not need corroboration of evidence, unlike in a Scottish criminal case. Soon after the case concluded, Goodwillie left his club, Plymouth Argyle, while Robertson retired from football. Goodwillie had asked to leave Plymouth as he was considering an appeal. In November 2017, 3 appeal judges at the Court of Session upheld the ruling against Goodwillie and Robertson. Goodwillie and Robertson both declared bankruptcy and have not paid the compensation. Career statistics. Club. As of match played January 29, 2022.